Hello everyone. Today we are going to see a sorting demo using collections class in Java. For that we have three different steps. One is reading data from the input file. Second one is natural order sorting. Third one is overriding natural order sorting. So let's see the simplest and easiest thing first. So what we need to do is we have to read the data from an input file. For that we are going to create a student class with these attributes. We are going to write a constructor, getter method, setter methods, and toString method. And in the driver class, we are going to create an array list, and we are going to read the data, student data from the text file, and we are going to store them in the array list. Okay, and here is a sample text file which I'm going to provide that under the description link of this video. Okay, so let's go ahead, open our NetBeans, create a project. So Java application. I'm not creating a main class yet. Sorting demo. I already have the project, so I'm naming it as sorting demo 1. In that, I'm going to create a package called students. In the student, what we need to do, we have to create a student class with these attributes. And all these attributes, three different types of, three variables of type string and one with a double, that is GPA. So for that, let me go ahead and create a student class. Finish. And I have private instance variables, right? So go ahead and declare those. Of type string ID number. Usually ID numbers are integers, right? So there is a purpose that I have created with the string here, and we will see that in just a second. String last name. Let me copy this and change the data type for GPA. Okay, so I have declared my private instance variables. So now you could be able to insert the rest of the code. Control A, Alt, Shift F. That intended the code for me. So what all we need to do, we need to write our constructor, getter, setters, and toString. So go ahead and include that. Constructor in the given order, ID number, last name, first name, and GPA. Getter, setters. And then toString method. Okay, so we are done with our student class. In this driver class, we are going to create an array list, and we are going to read the students from that particular file. Okay, so let me go ahead and create this driver class, which is main class, Java main class, called student driver. And we have to declare an array list of type student. You can call it as stu list or student list, whatever you want to call. New array list of type student. We are going to create an object. So we know that we have to import util.ArrayList class. Okay. And now what we have to do, we have to read our text from the input file. We have to read the text from the input file. So we should be able to get the input data first. So this is my input data. I'm going to explain what this data in the text file. So I'm copying this input data and I have to create a file, right? So where I have to create my file is basically, it should be under documents, my NetBeans projects, under sorting demo 1. I'm creating a new text file. Here I'm creating a new text file and naming it as student data, student data.text. Okay, spelling student, very good. And now here is the file. I'm copying and pasting that. I pasted that. So basically, what is my first attribute? ID number, last name, first name, GPA. This is for record for first student. For second student, ID number, last name, first name, GPA. Similarly for third student, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So basically I have records of 6 different students. Okay, so make sure you save it. Close this file, and in order to read from file, you have to use scanner class. I'm not discussing too details of this because you already know all these things. New file of student data.txt. Okay, I am importing scanner class and I am importing my file as well. And what we need to do here, we need to advertise, which is nothing but checked exception, which is file not found exception, which we discussed in the last class, right? Okay. Next thing is, now we have to read from a file. So we are reading from a file. That means we will have multiple records. So we will be using while loop, scan dot has next. And in the scan dot has next, what we need to do is, we have to make sure there's a Boolean value which returns true or false. And we are going to create an object called student. S is equal to new student of. So basically, what's my first thing? Student ID, last name, first name, and GPA. So we already know that student ID, last name, first name are of type strings, and those are one word. So basically, we will be using scan dot next directly. Scan dot next. Scan dot next, and scan dot next double. Very good. Okay, I have scan dot next double. So basically everything was read here, and as soon as I read, I would like to add that to the student list. Okay, so as soon as I read, I would be adding that to the student list, which is student list dot add of student. Okay, so basically I have finished reading that, and I'm going to print this one here. So I'm going to print student several times, one before sorting, one after sorting, and all that stuff. So for that I'm calling a private, I'm writing a helper method, which is a private basically static, since I'm writing in a main class, void print list, and that list is taking an array list of type student, which is TList or yes list. It doesn't have to be the same name which you already know. I'm using the print list, so I already have. So let me use my enhanced for loop. So colon, collection name, type of the data type is what? Student, yes, and I'm printing the student name here. It's student. As soon as I read the data, I'm calling my print list of student. I want to print something. Printing students after reading the data. I'm going to put few asterisk symbols so that we are going to see. Okay. Let me run this program and see what output that we are going to get. Okay. If you notice a little bit here, I'm not sure how to zoom here. So I got student ID numbers, first student, second student, all the 6 students data. Okay. So we are done with my first part, which is reading data from input file, and we have done this. So now several of you may have questions why we have to create array list and then store in the array list, all that stuff. So basically what we are doing here is we are doing sorting. In the sorting there are two things, natural order sorting and overriding natural order sorting. Let's see about the natural order sorting. Natural order sorting means what? From the lowest to highest. If you have numbers, you would be getting numbers from negative numbers to the positive numbers, or 0 to highest values, lowest to highest number. And if you consider alphabets, that means it would be from like A to Z, which is a natural order, right? So lowest to highest. So in order to implement our natural order sorting, we need to implement a comparable interface. We already know that whenever you implement an interface, you must override a method. And that method is called compare to method. And compare to method returns of type integer. Okay. And we can sort wherever we want on whatever the attribute that we want to sort. Okay. So let's do the first step now in our student class. So go to your student class. We need to implement comparable interface. Implements comparable interface of type student. Comparable interface of type student. So you know what errors that you will get. So you would be able to implement all the abstract methods, or you can make the student class as abstract, but we are going to implement all the abstract methods. How many abstract methods are there? Basically, there is only one method, that is nothing but compare to, that takes a student argument and returns an integer here. Okay, so I'm deleting this unsupported thing. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to sort by let's say last name. So can you all look into my console here? So these are all last names, right? So if you want to sort by last names, what you will get? Brown, 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 Landon and Smith. Okay, so because that is a natural order sorting. So let me sort by first name. If you want to sort by the first name, what we will get? We will be able to get first name Amy, then Bobby or Betty. So with two B's, right? So it's going to check on the next letter, which is BO and BE. We are going to get the BE, Betty, and then Bobby, or Robert, yes, Scott, or ST, Twyla later. Okay. So let's sort by using first name. Okay. And then we'll go back and change things. So if you consider this one, how we are going to get is we will be writing the code, to sort the elements of type string, right? So I'm writing the code like this, which is return last name dot compare to of o dot get last name. So this is very simple code and easy to understand if you follow. So basically what we are comparing the last name and then whatever the parameter that we are passing, and we are comparing that last name. Let's say you got Amy and you got Bobby here. So now what will happen is compare to will return integer. Integer means how many values you may have. Integer means either -1, 0 or +1. Okay, so basically it's going to return three things: -1, 0 or a positive value. Okay, I would say not -1, a negative value, a 0 or a positive value. So when you will get 0, if both the names are same, you will get 0. And if you have anything here is lower, you would be able to get negative. If you have inside the argument that is lower, you will get positive value. So lower on the color that you are going to get a negative value. If you have something calling object here, you are going to get a positive value. So let's see that we are going to see what output that we are going to get. So basically we implemented our compare to method that shows that returns an integer here. Okay, so if you see my Word document, and we are done with this part, and we have our collections dot sort. Okay, so this is one more concept that you need to understand here. So we have to do it in a driver class. So we printed this, and I'm going to write one more statement: system.out.println printing students after sorting based on first name. Okay, so I'm printing students based on the first name. So in order to print students, let me use print list. Okay, let me do this and see what output that we will get. Amy, Bobby, Betty, Scott, Robert, Twyla. Okay, so it is sorted, but when you have B, so Betty should come first, right? So basically what I did is I have written, in order to get natural order sorting, what I have to do, I have to go here and write and implement a comparable interface, which I did. And for that I have to override the compare to method. And if your left hand side is less value, you are going to get negative, and if it is greater value, sorry, if it is less value here, you are going to get positive. If both are same, you are going to get 0. And now I printed here. So what I need to do is, before I print, in order to get the right output, I have to use collections class. Okay, collections class is similar to our math class, which is a static class where you don't have to create an object. You would be calling methods by using class name itself. And we will be calling the sort method. And how many sort methods are there? There are two different sort methods. Both are returning void. And one is taking the list. That means it can take array list, linked list, whatever it is. And the second one, it is taking list and comparator. Comparator will be used for overriding the natural order sorting. But what we are focusing now, we are focusing on the natural order sorting. Okay. So I'm going to use sort method, which is my first method, and I pass the student list. Okay. So printing students um, in natural order sorting. In natural order sorting based on the first name. Okay, so since this one line of code would be able to help you to get the right output. So what happened? I got Bobby, Betty, Robert, Twyla, Scott, and Amy. So why my Amy is later?